And welcome to episode 12 of the Hippy Soul Sessions. Today is a very intuitive interview. It's something that's come about randomly and at the perfect time. So I'd love to introduce you to a wonderful woman that I've met just recently. Is Nicole Garnier, and she's from the UK. And she's a beauty therapist for many years, turned coach, hypnotherapist, and many other things, and very interesting woman. And we come into contact through a course that we both are in, and we aligned perfectly. So today I wanted to interview her because she's got great stories, really insightful things to share with us today. So introducing Nicole. Hello, Nicole.
Hi, Sarah. It's lovely to be here. Lovely to chat with you again.
Yes, thank you for coming on. It's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
So we'll start with the first question. Um, so can you share more about your journey about a beauty therapist and then how you come about being a coach and hypnotherapist and every other hat that you've got? How did that come about?
That's a big story. So I became a beauty therapist at the young age of 21. I'd wanted to be a fashion designer since the age of 7. I actually got into art college, which was a tall order. There were, I think, 100 places and something like 600 people. I managed to get in, and when I got there, I realized it wasn't my dream. So I took another path, became a beauty therapist, and absolutely loved it. And what really drew me was making people feel better about themselves. And I just had a kind of natural gift, I guess, for making people feel better. And my teacher at the time, so we're going back to, let me think, long time. So it would have been 1970, 1990-ish, 89, 90. My teacher kept saying to me, "You're going to be a really amazing holistic therapist." I'm thinking, what the beep is a holistic therapist? Back in that time, aromatherapy, which I was training in, was considered really woo-woo and out there. People are like, it smells. How can it do anything other than smell?
Yes, yeah.
So holistic therapy was just not on my radar. But quite soon after qualifying, I found myself training in Reiki. And to be honest, that just came to me. One of my friends was training, mentioned it to me, and I went along. And it's kind of how my journey's been. It's like been an evolving journey where things just come into my radar and my heart says yes. And then it takes me on the next path.
Yes.
And actually, that's the journey that I've been learning to lean into more. And this is how we
Yes.
met the other day, literally the
Yes.
other.
Yes.
So yeah, let's reel it in. Where were we? So I trained as a beauty therapist, absolutely loved it. And then in 2015, there was a training course with Richard Bandler and Paul McKenna, who Paul McKenna is a very famous hypnotherapist in the UK. And when I was younger, I actually listened to Paul McKenna's CDs to, dare I say, give up smoking first. So I'd listen to him every night, and it was so funny because when people offered me a cigarette, I'd say, "No thanks, I'm a non-smoker," and then I'd laugh because it was the words that were on the CD. So I
Yeah.
gave up just like that. And then I started listening to his audio to lose weight because I was in an unhappy relationship at the time. I put on weight and I literally lost 44 pounds in 22 weeks.
Wow.
Because
Whoa.
I had this vision in my head of the woman I was going to become, and I just stepped into her. Every night when I listened to this CD. And then I used her CD to gain confidence, to walk away from a marriage. Um, so I've never actually publicly told this story, but I'd be laying in bed next to my husband while listening to Paul McKenna
Getting the confidence to
to
go.
boost my confidence to go, yes, girl, you can do this on your own. So Paul McKenna was someone that brought hypnotherapy to my radar. And then when I saw his training in 2015, weekend training, I had to be on it. And then very soon after that, Marissa Peer was doing her first ever training in the UK in RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy. And I'd never heard of her. She appeared, I don't know, somehow on my Facebook and I just had this, all I can say is like a call, but it was so strong that I had to do this training. And I was going on holiday, and I literally had 2 days before going away to have an interview with her because there were only a small amount of people allowed on the training. At the time, you had to be a therapist of some sort to be allowed. And I had to hand over the most amount of money, thousands of pounds, that I'd ever spent in my entire life.
And especially on
It
yourself,
all,
investing in
it
yourself.
was all crazy. Like, my brain was going, this is crazy, Nicole. And my heart was saying, you have to do this.
Do it. Yeah.
So basically, I did it. I committed and I got on a plane and went on my first holiday abroad a couple of days
Yeah.
later. And I
Wow.
remember saying, I've just signed up to become a hypnotherapist. And
Yeah.
that
Wow.
was the start of, oh, a massive, massive journey.
Yes.
Massive journey.
So,
Yeah.
how many years have you been doing it now? Like, at what stage was that?
So that was back in 2015. So I've been a
Yep.
hypnotherapist and coach now for about 8 years
Yep.
officially, although I always joked and said beauty therapy was half beauty and half therapy.
Yes. Yep.
Um, and you know this
So it
being
was
a
kind
hair.
of it was kind of an
Yeah,
evolution from beauty
yeah,
into. Do you do
yeah.
both now, or
I do
have you?
both. I love actually the hands-on of especially massage because I believe a lot of our imprints are stored in the body. The body keeps the score, and that was one of my big lessons recently.
Yes.
Was that I'd healed my mind. I'd done so much mindset work, but my body was actually holding on to in my nervous system the
Yes.
old energetic imprints. And it was only through going through a big healing journey with my body recently, um, healing from adrenal fatigue, healing from the first stages of cervical cancer, that I realized that yes, my mind was healed. The old traumas weren't in my mindset. I wasn't working from those patterns, but my body was still in that survival mode. And
Yes.
so that took me on a further journey to go back to my origins of being more holistic and working energetically. So it's almost like I've come full circle.
Yes.
Started hands on. I went very
Yep.
much into mindset, fascinated by quantum, all the rest of it. And then I've come back through to working
Mm.
with the energetics.
Well, it's a perfect
Um,
circle, really. Like when you look
oh,
at that, it's everything works together, and it's got to be all. Can't be one or the
It's
other.
all exactly. And it's so funny when I think about Jenny Grace, my lecturer, saying, you're going to be, I've got so many tingles coming through. You're going to be an amazing holistic therapist. That's what it's full circle.
Full
And the other
circle.
thing, when I was younger, my mantra was always mind, body, soul, and balance. And I didn't think that up. That kind of came to me. And it's almost like that was the message that I was given for me.
Yeah.
Although I had it all over my business cards and I thought, yeah,
Yep.
that's really cool.
Yes.
It's only of late that I've realized, oh, that was a message for me.
For you. Yep.
Yeah,
But it's
for
great that
me.
you've used the message for others and
Yeah,
also for you.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
each leg of my journey, I've then been able to share it with others and pass it
Yes.
on.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
I think that's a great purpose to
yeah,
have too, is to help others. And yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
wonderful. So tell us a
yeah.
little bit, like I'm really interested in hearing how you get your feelings, how you know what is intuitively right, because you talk a lot
Mm,
about like putting your vision boards and also synchronicities, all of that kind of thing.
yeah.
So I'm really interested to know about some stories on
So
that.
vision boards are so magical. And I remember my first vision board actually. I put a hot air balloon on there and it was just something I fancied. And I have a really close friend, but he doesn't live anywhere near me. He's a couple of 100 miles away. And my birthday's in December. And he messaged me and said, Nicole, I know your birthday's in December, but put this date in August in your diary and keep it free. He said, you're going to have to wait for your birthday present this year. So a few days before, he said, do you want to know what we're doing? I was like, yeah, be handy for packing. So he said, I need you to get on a train, meet me in Bristol, and we're going to the hot air balloon show. And you're going up
Wow.
in a hot air balloon.
And you're like, what?
So he hadn't seen my vision board. I'm actually scared of
You're like, tick.
heights.
Got
I'm
that one?
scared of falling off things, but because I was in a basket, I wasn't, weirdly, I'm not scared of flying, or I love it. And there I was in this hot air balloon flying above Bristol with hundreds of other balloons. It was a really magical
Wow.
day.
Yeah.
Um, those things are incredible. So one of the things I love doing actually is workshops with clients. And I always say to them, open yourself up to possibilities. And I love the week after we've done a workshop because the amount of messages that I have saying, Nicole, you're never going to guess what. And they tell me these amazing things that were on their board.
Yeah.
So I do believe we put it out there and there's a higher power, whatever you want to call it. There's a divine
Yep.
orchestration.
Yes.
And somehow things come to us. Like for
Yes.
this, for example, on Saturday, two different guys said to me, Nicole, you should do a podcast. And I'm a podcast virgin, so this is my first time. Thank you for making it so easy. And I just took that thought, put a post in the group, and voila, you responded. We had a conversation, and here we are a couple of days later.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we put the energy into the world, and then it's kind of picked up
It
or
is.
met.
It's met right there,
It's
isn't it?
met.
Right in there in the moment.
Yeah, it's
And
like a
that,
co-creation.
yes, exactly, a co-creation. And tell me a little bit about the quantum leaps and timeline shifts and stuff like that has happened in your
Yeah.
life. Like, because
Oh my
that's a
gosh,
really,
so
really
many.
cool example is us coming together like that. It's a really cool example of actioning it straight away. Like, it comes down, action it,
Yes.
happens.
Yes, and it's so funny. I said this to you earlier. I'd written in my diary, tomorrow is leap day. And I put leaping day, quantum leaping day. And then
Yeah.
this has happened today. And so
So
who
tomorrow
knows
is
what
not
might
leap
happen
day, it's
tomorrow?
quantum
It's so
leaping day.
exciting. Yes, it's magic. So, oh, so many timeline shifts.
How would you
Oh,
explain a timeline shift? How would you explain it?
I believe it's having a intuitive thought, and here's the big bit: knowing is never enough. It's taking action on that knowing. So it's us choosing to step into a new way of being.
Yeah.
It's all about who we're being. And so we can know things. And this is where, don't get me wrong, I love The Secret and the law of attraction, but there's a lot more to it. There are lots more
Yes.
universal laws that all stack up. One of them's cause and effect, and we are the cause of the effect,
Yeah.
and we're the effect of the cause.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so to create that change, we have to create the change within us.
Yes.
So we can't just know it and wish and hope.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's staying in victim mode.
Yes.
We have to choose, and this is one of the big keys. I talk about keys to change. The first one, I think, is awareness. Awareness is the key to change, because if we don't know it, we just don't know it. We can't change it.
100%.
And that's where mindset comes in, and belief work and working on yourself. But then there's the piece of taking action. And I'll put my hand up. Sometimes it's scary, and sometimes the little me wants to go, no, I don't want to take that
It's
action.
easier to not do it. Yeah.
Ah!
Yep.
But then we're not going to change if we don't take the action. So it's the stepping in. And the other thing I share with my clients is, what's in the way is the way.
Yep. Yep.
Resistance persists, but
Yep.
actually resistance is almost the validation that, yes, this matters.
Yes.
Because if it didn't matter, if it wasn't important, there wouldn't be any resistance.
Yeah. Yep. Because fear is like the guide, your guide, isn't it? When you
Yeah,
see that you've got massive
yeah,
fear towards something, it's a guide to get you over the next to your next higher higher self, higher timeline.
exactly, exactly.
Mm.
So, all my life, actually, I had, well, a fear of speaking. So, from when I was very little, I mean, tiny, maybe two or something, I remember my mum bribing me with a penny to be quiet for 1 hour, and I get a penny. And then I grew up with this speak when spoken to. So I could talk when people spoke to me. I couldn't go up to a stranger. And do you know what? This is really funny. I remember when I trained in hypnotherapy, becoming aware of all these old patterns. Because I was an only child, I'd never had a conversation about this. It was my normal. And this is
Yep.
the thing with our patterns, it's our normal until we pull them out, dangle them like a carrot and go, oh, that's a bit odd. We don't realise that it's not normal.
Yep.
And so I remember waiting one day for a friend who was always late, waiting for her to come out for lunch. And I was sat on a bench next to a lady. And I thought, I need to speak to her. I need to break out of this pattern of waiting to be spoken to. And it was a
Yeah.
gorgeous day, and I can't remember what I said, something about how lovely it was. We ended up having the most beautiful conversation, sat on that bench, and I think we were both waiting for friends who were late.
Yeah.
But it was taking that little tiny action that started to break me free of the pattern of waiting to be spoken to.
Yes. Yeah. So all those beliefs that you've held on to that were
Yeah,
unconscious.
yeah. And then those beliefs validate bigger beliefs that are things like, well, no one wants to listen to me. What I have to say isn't important.
Yep.
It's
Exactly.
so just taking one tiny step, whatever that is, in the direction of the scary thing, the new thing, the different thing. You don't know where that's going to lead.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually quite
Yeah.
exciting if you think of it like that and
Mm,
remove the fear. Well, go through the fear anyway. Like, what do they say?
yeah.
Courage is feeling the fear and going through it anyway.
Yeah. I
So,
believe courage is a muscle and we literally have to flex it. We
hmm,
have to grow it.
yeah,
We're not just
it's a good way
courageous.
of looking at it.
And
Yeah.
yeah, we're not just born, well, some people maybe are, but generally we're not just born courageous.
Yeah.
It's confidence has grown and
Yeah.
it's knowing that
Cultivate that.
you have your own back.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to, don't you? Like, otherwise, if you don't have your own back, you have to have your own back.
Mm. If you don't have it,
Mm.
who else will?
Yep.
No.
Yep. What's something that even coming on this podcast is a really big step for you? Like you were saying, it's
Yeah.
it's your first podcast, but you're here, you're doing it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What is some of the things that helped you to actually break through the fear and do it? What was some of the steps for people that are thinking about doing it themselves? You're right.
Um,
Well, good.
what got me to break through? Interestingly, the amazing training we're on at the moment.
Yep.
So we're on this training with the three amazing guys, and their honesty and integrity about saying that they feel fear anyway, and they do it. Because sometimes we can think, or for me, definitely, can think that because you have the fear, it means you're not quite ready.
Yes.
Or I've gone on this path where I need to know a bit more. I need to do a bit more first. And it's quite interesting because I've done so many trainings and kind of I'm a self-obsessed neuro nerd. I'll put my hands up to it. I love it. I'm
Yep.
obsessed with learning and growing, but I'm also aware that I can become addicted to it. And that
Yep.
kind of, oh, just one more thing. But the interesting thing I've realized in the last couple of years is that the people I'm in groups with, and I love it because I love the energy of being around other people that are on my
Yes.
wavelength and we can have these amazing conversations. Because
Yeah.
I don't know about you and us, but I don't normally have these kind of conversations in the street on a daily basis. And I thrive from them. So I love groups from that. But what I have noticed is a lot of the people teaching the groups, they actually don't know any more than me.
Yep.
And where I've got to now in my journey is kind of recognizing that you do know enough. Let go of that story that you don't know enough. That you have to
Yes.
be, I don't know, have something else or no.
Yeah. It's strange, isn't it? It's kind of like nearly like a procrastination, but it's kind of also feeling like you don't know enough and then not good enough
Mm,
to be doing it. Like there's so many fears around that, isn't there?
yeah,
It's
definitely.
and it
So I
really
think,
just stops growth,
yeah,
doesn't it? Yeah.
massively. But I
Mm.
think a big piece was seeing these really successful guys with I don't know how many. YouTube followers, crazy, crazy amounts,
Yeah.
saying, yeah, we feel the fear every day and we do it anyway.
Yes. And especially
And
after so many years, you think that they wouldn't feel it anymore. You'd think that they're
yeah,
they're confident, they're good, they don't feel the fear, but they still say they do every time. So you're like, okay.
exactly,
So that's never going
exactly.
to really go away. It's just you got to push through it.
Yeah, yeah. And the funny thing is, that as when you start and step in, the fear normally goes away. Like, I'm actually loving this conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Once it was to begin with when we're pressing play, like we're going to
Yeah,
record, like oh, and then 2 minutes in, you're like, no, this is good. How long is this going to go for? This is great.
exactly. So, isn't it crazy how that little gremlin, whatever you want to call it, that sits on
Yeah,
your
the little
shoulder
gremlin.
can pull you back? Or you
Yeah.
can decide to, do you know what? I'm going to take the driving seat. You can sit in the back.
Yes.
You come
Yeah.
along for the ride
Yes.
because I know you're not going anywhere, but somewhere
Yeah.
along the way, you're going to have a nap.
Yeah. You can have a nap in the back. I'm taking over from now. Yeah. No, that's
Exactly. So,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool.
What's one of the biggest breakthroughs you've had in your career? What's one of the biggest things that
Oh
really
my
shifted
goodness.
everything for you?
In my career, that's a really hard one. I I had a massive pivot um, because of lockdown, which I guess put me on a different trajectory. And it was
Yeah.
something I really didn't want to go on
Yeah.
because I'd always been hands on. My clients always came to me, and even my coaching clients were in person. And then obviously, we're suddenly in lockdown, and that wasn't possible. So I had to go online. And this is quite a funny one. When I trained in hypnotherapy in 2015, I bought my first laptop. I'd never used a computer. My ex-husband used to say to me, "Don't go near the computer, you'll make it crash." I did massage, I did facials. I had no cause to go near a computer. I was quite happy with my paper diary. I am actually still happy with my paper diary. I'll
Yeah.
own up to
Yeah.
that. So a computer was like, I can't do that. I'm going to make it crash. I'm going to do it wrong. Um, Funny enough, I discovered later on that me not going near the computer had nothing to do with me making it crash. It's more to do with
Yeah.
what I might see on there, but that's a whole nother story. And actually, it made me
Oh
laugh.
no. Yeah.
But I had this fear of I can't do tech and blah de blah. And obviously, again, I was pushed out of my comfort zone, and I had to do it. And the funny thing is that now I spend a huge majority of my life online doing tech,
Yeah.
and that was just a story.
Yeah.
It was just a story that I told myself, and so I kept myself in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I believe the matrix is. Everyone talks about breaking out of the matrix like it's something out there. It's not,
Yeah.
it's a constriction in our mind. It's this
Yeah.
box of beliefs.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Of
so it's
of
just,
your beliefs, but it could be other people's beliefs, society's beliefs, but you've constructed this thing. Yeah.
yes. So it's just peeling off these layers of beliefs. And that's actually what I help my clients to do.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
unconditioning yourself
Yes.
to
It's kind of like an onion, like peeling back the
peel
layers of
the
each
onion,
thing.
to find your
Mm.
essence. Yeah, your
Yep.
authentic self is that little core within you. It's the you that you're born with. You think about
Yes. Yep.
babies, they come into the world and they're hug me, love me, do what I need. They're not saying, don't look at me, my hair's a bit dodgy, I've got triple knees and feet on my bib. Oh, I'm not
Yeah.
worthy. No. They're
Yep.
here,
They're like,
they expect
I'm happy.
love.
I'm good.
I'm
Yep.
happy. They don't feel they need to be anything to
Yep.
get that love.
Exactly.
And if they have a need, they'll wake the whole house up at 3 a.m. They're not going to
Yeah.
think, oh, I better not do that right now. Someone's going to be
Yeah.
upset. No.
That might seem a bit rude. I'll wait a little bit longer.
We're taught all these conditions
Yes.
about
Yep.
who we should and shouldn't be, what we
Yep.
need to do and mustn't do to get love and approval and validation.
Yes.
And that makes sense when we're little
Yeah.
because our parents are almost like our God and we need them to
Yeah.
survive.
Yep.
But I think we've missed almost like a rite of passage from being a child, a dependent, to an independent.
Yep.
It's like we've missed this self-development process of, okay, I listen to others and I do as I'm told, to, okay, now I'm an adult, I lead myself, I listen to myself.
Yes.
And I
There's a
think that's
section
what
there
the
that we sort of
whole,
don't get taught. Hey.
we don't get
Mm.
taught, but I think that's the whole personal growth, personal development journey, is that missing piece of development that we have to teach ourselves. And the only way is to step into that self responsibility that I get to
And being
do.
vulnerable too. Yeah.
Being vulnerable is a big piece.
Yes.
Yeah. Lots of people think being vulnerable is a weakness, but I think actually it's the
Yeah.
biggest strength.
Yep.
It's the
Yes,
biggest
that's a
strength.
huge one.
Mm.
What you just said then, because I think, yeah, when you say the word vulnerability, it sounds like you are like for us, like that have grown up with that word, seems like you are weak, but that's not the case at
Mm.
all, is it?
No. I think when you can own your truth, feel your feelings, allow them without judgment, and share from your heart. Wow.
Yes.
I'm still learning to step into layers of that, but that's where the intuition lies.
Yes.
That's where intuition and your inner knowing and your those gut feelings, it's being able to feel them and act on them because
Yes.
you've stepped into your sovereign power rather than looking at others
Yep. Listening
to
to
be
yourself.
validated. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah. And it's so
100%.
funny because, so my ex husband and I are friends now. So I say this with love. But he used to say to me, am I allowed to say the SHIT word? He used to say to me, you and your karma. So when we split, I vowed that whoever in my life had to be okay with my karma shit.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but actually, I still had to step into owning it because I'd had 10 years and actually all of my life where it wasn't okay. It wasn't acceptable. It's like woo woo weird. So I'd hidden
Yes.
parts of myself from the world, but also from me.
Yep.
And it's interesting. It's really from since the COVID lockdown where I was able to just be in my own energy that I started stepping into this more in a big, big way. And the really funny thing is, the more I step into it, the more people are accepting of it. And
Yes.
they actually are fascinated and want to know more.
Yes.
And the really, really funny thing is, guys, they really want to know. I have
Yep.
kind of big, strong guys on my massage couch who have, you know, important jobs in the world that you think IBM and this, that, and the other, that you think it wouldn't interest them. They're fascinated. They want to
I,
know.
yeah, exactly. I think the world's sort of come like changing, and it's becoming more aware of these things, and actually seeing it in action a lot of the time makes you go, okay, and they start to
Yeah,
ask about it.
yeah, definitely. And I think women are here to help men lean into their feelings. I really do believe that the masculine and feminine work together, and there's a reason. And
Yeah.
the divine feminine is here to kind of allow the masculine to soften into their feelings, because there's a lot of talk from women about how patriarchy has diminished us and all the rest of it. And yes, that's true, but it's also affected men. It's also affected men. And until women step into their divine feminine and soften, we're not allowing men a place to step into their divine or sacred masculine to hold the container, because how can they step forward when we're busy? I can do it all.
Yeah. Yeah. When
I'm
we're
strong. I've
too,
got this.
yeah, it's too masculine. Yeah, going to the other side, which everyone has
Yeah,
the polarity in them. It's got to have a nice
yeah,
balance.
yeah, exactly.
And where do
It
you
all
see
comes
the
back to us.
masculine? Yes. Where do you see the masculine coming in for the feminine there? So you,
Mm.
yeah, where do you see that?
So it's so powerful. The more I can lean into my feminine when I'm having a conversation with the masculine, the more they step into their masculine.
Yeah.
But when we're busy trying to be a certain way, not show vulnerability, doesn't give them the space. It doesn't
Yeah.
give them the container. And I'm
Yeah.
noticing more and more kind of divine union, power couples, however you want to call it, coming into the world and sharing these teachings together,
Yes. Yeah.
which is beautiful.
Yes.
And I do believe that that's the age of Aquarius as well. I think that's
Yes.
where we're being pulled towards, but it starts with us all doing our inner journey
Yes.
so that we can then co-create together.
It comes back to us, doesn't it? And
It,
then together
it comes back to us,
as
all of it.
unity.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
yeah.
And so many people kind of think, well, just me, what can I do to change the world? You don't need
Heaps.
to change the world, you
Everything.
just change yourself, and then the world around you
Yeah.
changes.
Exactly. Yeah. That's beautiful. I love
Mm.
that.
There's a saying actually that I heard years ago, and it might not be exact, but something along the lines of Mother Teresa said, if we all swept our own piece of the street, the world would be a clean place.
Yeah.
And I think we can apply that to our own personal growth journey and
Yes.
our own self-love journey. If we all learnt to love ourselves, and
Yeah.
I'm still on this journey, I don't know if it ever ends.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, it is, when you said before, I'm still learning, I'm like, I love that because it's like a never-ending learning, but it's about the journey. It's
It's
not
about
about,
the journey.
mm,
I think this was the turning point for me was when I let go of the I'm trying to mend, heal, and fix myself to be good enough. And instead, I'm awakening to my truth and I'm peeling off the layers. So instead of when you're looking for something to fix, it's like you think you've fixed something and then something else comes up. It's
Yeah.
deflating. You're like, oh
Yes.
gosh, no, I'm still not right.
Yeah.
Whereas when you shift into the I'm awakening, I actually get curious when I feel when things come up and I'm like, come on then, show me what is
Yeah.
this? Rather
Yeah.
than,
What are you showing
oh
me?
my gosh, there's something else the matter with me.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
I love
oh,
that. Like seeing it as being curious rather than shy away
yeah,
from it. Be curious, like look at it and like, why is that happening?
yeah,
Why
what's
am I
this?
feeling like that?
There's another part that wants
There's a
to be,
piece.
another piece that wants to be almost embraced. Because
Yes.
you know
Yep.
what? They're pieces that have been rejected by someone else. And then we've rejected, neglected, and abandoned them in ourselves and often shamed them and pushed them away. And then
Yep.
we're spending our time trying to hide them and
Yep.
be this. And of course, we don't feel right because there's a little voice going, yeah, but
Beep.
if they knew that about you.
Yeah. Yep.
So when we bring that little part of us in, and this is the whole, lots of people are scared of doing their shadow work. What do you think is hiding in the shadow? It's just a piece of you that wants love.
Yeah.
It's a piece
And
of you
yes.
that is asking for your love. And
Yes.
so this is why I say we're never at the end of the journey. There's no there. It's just inviting those pieces back and learning to love yourself more.
Feeling
And
more at
this is
home.
coming home to yourself. Yeah, and
Yep.
it's coming home to yourself in unconditional love,
Yep.
which starts with unconditional acceptance because we've all been taught to be loved conditionally. And until we can be unconditional with ourselves, we can't be unconditional with someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
If I'm
So
judging
true.
someone else, I've got that judgment within me.
Exactly.
Mm,
Yep. Ah, love that.
yeah.
When you mentioned before, I just had to remember this because I was like, I want to ask you about this. When you mentioned before about the age of Aquarius, can you
Mm.
tell us a little bit more about that? Because I think that'll be really interesting for people to hear.
Yeah, so I'm not an astrologer, but I'm fascinated by it.
Yeah.
I work a
Yeah.
lot with the moons. So
Yeah.
I find the moons are really powerful. I actually feel energy, and I get the energy before the moon and shift through the collective consciousness pattern. I think because I'm here to help others through it. And it's so funny, I noticed that I break through something or I see through something, a pattern, and then the moon will happen, and a couple of weeks later all my clients are messaging saying, oh my gosh, I'm having this with relationships, and there's a theme. So the age of Aquarius, we just shifted into it, and I think it's something like a 44-year cycle that we're going into. It's
Yes.
massive.
Yeah.
And this is like a whole collective consciousness thing, totally
Yes.
shifting. So the age of Aquarius, one, Aquarius is quirky, stepping out of the box, owning your uniqueness.
Hey.
Yay, let's all be weird and wonderful.
Yeah.
Owning your, strangeness, because you know what? That's what we're here for. We're not
Yeah.
carbon
Yeah. To
copies.
express. Yeah.
We're not all meant to be the same. Like, we're not
No.
factory robots.
No.
we come here with a gift, and that gift is in our difference.
Yes.
And so it's all about
What did we come out
owning.
of? Did we come out of Capricorn?
We came out of Capricorn, and Capricorn's
Yeah.
like, I don't love Capricorn. Sorry, Capricorn. It's like the
And that's been a long
headmaster.
time too, hasn't it? The Capricorn
Yeah.
was, yeah.
So Capricorn's like the strict headmaster.
Yeah.
Um,
And do what you're told.
yeah, and it's ruled by Saturn, which is boundaries and it's structure, and it's so this is why we're seeing some of the old structures breaking down
Exactly.
and crumbling away, because the only way to get change is to make a space for it, and things have to fall away. And this is the bit as humans we don't like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our body and our mind wants to hold on to things being the same because I survived. I know what I'm doing when it's like that.
Yeah.
But change is always in the unknown. Sorry, the new, the things we want to create, our dreams, they're in the unknown.
Yeah.
If they weren't, we'd already have them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the age of Aquarius is also about unity, co-creation, collaboration, just this beautiful energy of working together. So the
Yeah.
old way was power over, hierarchy, someone in power and kind of a dictatorship.
Yeah.
The new way is power with, power together. Like we all work as one. And it's also letting go of this codependency of needing and wanting someone to do something to make you feel better. Instead, it's about sovereignty, standing in our own power, tapping into our inner power, and then sharing that with the people around us.
Yeah.
Because if I don't need you to make me happy, if I just show up in my energy, I can be totally authentic because I'm not needing to do something to get something from you. There's no agenda.
No. And that's perfect when there's no agenda. You just give all of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's such a
Beautiful.
pure energy. It's so different.
Yes.
And this is where
I'm
we're
excited.
heading. This is
Yeah.
where we're heading, and it's beautiful.
Yes.
But we have to let go of the old to do it.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
have to let go of the old to do it. And just know that there's often a messy middle
Yeah.
as things fall
Because it's like
away.
from the familiar to a new. It's like we're stuck in the familiar. It's hard to
Yeah,
change, but it can be done.
exactly. Exactly. And it all comes back to us doing our own little piece.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Because sometimes you feel so insignificant. You think that you like me doing one change is not going to be
yeah.
enough. But if we all thought like that, then it wouldn't be, would it? But
No,
together, huge.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Because whatever's on the inside is reflected out on the outside. So individually, it's what shows up in our life. So if we've got unease or dis-ease, it might show up in our body as disease, or it might show up in conflicts in our life. On a bigger collective, conflicts in the world, war, is because we're at war with ourselves. So yeah, the big ask I think really is coming back into the peace within ourselves and that unity. And we've come full circle again with the yin and the yang, the masculine, the
Yep.
feminine, the allowing our
Perfect circle.
hearts, allowing our hearts to guide us and our mind to take that vision and create it, rather than how we've been doing it, which is trying to logically work out everything
Yep.
and leaving our heart out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my journey actually started with thinking I'd ticked off my to-do list. I created my life from the outside in. From the outside, it all looked perfect. I had the house, the husband, the holidays, the car, the cash, had a job I loved, everything. Yet I was really depressed.
Yep.
Something was missing, and that missing piece was actually me.
Yes.
I'd forgotten to consult myself and put myself in my life. I'd just
So,
been
do you
doing the
actually
I
want this?
shoulds.
Yep.
I'd done all the tick list. I'm who I should be,
Yep.
but I'd missed myself out. And
Yes.
so when I left my marriage and realized that, oh, you know what, my woo-woo was a big part of me.
Yeah.
My karma shit, we're
Yep.
owning it. I started to create a life from the inside out,
Yep.
creating that life that actually to me had meaning and purpose and value.
Yes.
Not because of the things I had on the outside. I wasn't chasing the validation, the stamps of honor, the bigger
Yes.
bank balance. No, it was like
What does that do? Nothing.
fulfillment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fulfillment's an inside job, fully
Yes.
filled, nourished by
Yes.
life.
Mm-hmm.
And like doing this, oh my God, it feels really good.
Yes. Yep. You're
Having these
100%
kinds of
you, authentic.
conversations.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Um,
good.
so yeah, when we learn to actually create our life from the inside out and do things that bring meaning and where we're valuing ourselves, everything else shifts in life.
Yep. Perfect.
Everything shifts.
Ah. Nicole, I've loved having you on here. This is so good.
Oh,
You're a natural too, by the way.
oh, bless
You
you.
need to do this way more often.
We could talk for hours, seriously.
Yeah,
So,
I reckon we should do this
yeah,
regularly. We should just keep it
yeah,
going.
yeah.
But before we go, I'd like to actually ask you like what your future plans are for your business and how people can reach out to you and how people can follow you from my side because I know a lot of people would be interested in
Okay.
what you do and your story and
Okay, amazing. Thank you. So I'm currently on Instagram and Facebook.
yep,
I prefer Insta, if I dare say that. So
yep.
I'll pass you the links for your beautiful people. I'm actually about to start a YouTube channel, and it's
Yay!
something that's been in the back of my mind for at least a year, and now's the time. And
Yeah,
it's going to be called Unfiltered.
I love it. Unfiltered
And
all the
this,
way.
I've got goosebumps coming through. This came down in a
Yay!
download last week for me. And
Yep,
the reason I want to call it Unfiltered is because sadly there's a lot of, this might upset a few people, just pretending out there.
yep,
People out of integrity, kind of sharing the highlight reels, And I see this sadly a lot in the coaching industry, and I think this is why people are struggling.
Yep.
So I'm a recovering perfectionist. I've just discovered that I have Virgo in my midheaven. I had no idea about this. And I'm like, oh, that's where you're lurking. So you know what? I'm going to take my recovering perfectionist on this YouTube ride,
Yes.
and we're going to peel back the conditioning
And come out unfiltered.
together. And yeah, let's come out that
Is this
closet.
going to cover like any topic you feel like at the time, or have you got like
Yeah.
anything that you want to cover?
So obviously we'll be going into mindset, we'll be going into how to consciously create your life, the purpose journey. So this is something I rediscovered recently on our training. I've heard of the hero's journey, everyone's heard of the hero's journey, but I hadn't actually paid attention to the purpose journey, in that
Yep.
when you're living a purposeful life, creating a conscious business, it's going to take you through those challenges that I was sharing earlier,
Yes.
where I said to you, what's in the way is the way. And for example, I allowed this to be a hurdle, a challenge that I didn't step forward for a long time.
Yep.
But just realizing that actually it's normal to have those things, and that is your next step and your next growth. So I want to share a lot about that, because I think
Yeah.
people see the shiny reels of people, on a sun lounger. Oh, I've made 10 million before having my morning coffee.
Yep.
All this kind of stuff. There's also this energy of almost bragging about how much you can charge clients
Yep.
and how much they're making, which feels very ego to me.
Bit of ick. Yep.
Yeah, and I just want to strip everything back
Yes.
and share my journey to help people along their way.
I think
Yeah.
people will relate, and they do relate more to authenticity than anything
Yeah.
else. And I think people are getting sick of seeing anything fake or anything
Yeah.
that's like a bit too salesy or anything like that. They're like, nope, I don't want anything that like that. I want to see real. So I know
Yeah.
myself, I'm like that. I want to see real.
Yeah. And I don't know how it is in Australia, but here there are lots of people, everyone's trying to look the same as well now. It's kind
Yeah.
of, it's got a bit crazy. But
Yeah.
you know what? That's the mirror reflection of the inside, which is
Yeah.
really sad,
Yeah.
because everyone's trying to fit in this box.
Yeah.
And
We're all
Aquarius is
different
all
cats.
about breaking out of that
Yes,
box.
I was about
Like,
to say, do you
smash
reckon it's
it.
the age of Aquarius? Like going, nope, no more of that.
Smash the box. So years
Yeah.
ago, right at the start of my journey, I think it was before I did NLP, actually. I did a seminar with Tony Robbins. And one of the things that really stuck with me, he said, do you want to live your life in a box, or are you going to take yourself out of the box and live the life that you want, the life of your dreams? That just stuck with me. And
Yes. Yeah.
so since then, and I think that was 2015, I've been living
Yeah.
outside the box.
Out of the box. Yes. Yes.
Outside of that box. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Before we
yeah.
leave, I'd love to know like your favorite book or a book that's changed your life.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. So I've just revisited Becoming Supernatural, Joe Dispenza.
Yep. Yes.
Absolutely love that book. And there's another book that I read last year that I told everyone to read. And I'm just trying to think. Napoleon Hill, Conversations with the Devil. Is that?
Yep. Yep.
That is an amazing book. And basically, Conversations with the devil is just in your mind. It's like fear.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
Your
back to
own
the
your
fear
own like
or
sort of
love.
demons. Yeah.
Fear or love.
Yeah.
What is leading you? And I always say
Yes.
fear pushes until your vision pulls.
Yeah.
So if we don't have a vision for our life, we end up living someone else's vision or being
Yep.
enrolled in their vision. And then we wake up one day kind of thinking, what am I doing with my life? What's going on with my life? How did I get here?
Yeah. What happened? You wake up one day. What?
Yeah, you've
Yeah.
been side railed by others' wants and needs.
Mm.
And I think as well, for women especially, we kind of grow up thinking that we need to make others happy to please, to, you know what?
Mm.
You make others really happy when you make yourself happy.
Yep. And
One
you
of my
attract the
clients,
right people, don't you?
yeah, one of my clients, she made me laugh because she said to me after we'd done a three process training where I taught her to create from the inside out, and she said to me, "Oh my gosh, Nicole, I didn't know life could be this easy." She said, "I just make myself happy, and then everyone else around me is happy." She said, "Even the dog loves me more."
Like I didn't think the dog could love me anymore.
I just love that. But
Oh,
yeah, when you
that's
show
awesome.
up just feeling good,
Yes,
you've got love to give.
exactly. Yeah.
You got love to give, and that's the answer. I think,
Yes.
yeah, we've been taught to create from the outside in, and it's an inside out living. And
Yes.
then I think the other disease of adulthood is seriousness.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
Learn to laugh at yourself.
learn to
Like,
laugh at
yes.
yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, laughter, like
Yeah.
tears, is releasing. It's a
Yes.
vibration shift.
Yes. I've felt like that seriousness of late. Like you can feel it like in the air. You're like, yeah, a bit more
It's like a
fun, a bit more
heaviness.
light. Yeah, so much
Yes.
heaviness. Yeah.
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 Laughter is light. Laughter is, it's such a vibrational shift. Like
It
singing,
is.
like music, like.
Yes.
And so when we learn to play with life and be in the moment, and rather than trying to plan it all from the mind, because you can't know what you don't know, yet
No.
we somehow think we should know it all before it's
Yes.
happened.
Yes.
When we just show up as our best, then we can respond to what comes towards us,
Yes.
and we
Yeah.
can be more open to it. And that's the whole dance with life and co-creation.
Mm.
And another thing I share with clients, and I love this, is manifestation. So everyone wants to manifest. What can
Yes.
I manifest? A bigger house, but often it's linked to validation.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the magic of manifestation isn't what you get. That's the bonus. That's the cherry on top. The magic of manifestation is who you become on your journey
Yes. I
to
love that.
creating your life, your dreams.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so if we shift into this becoming and being, we're a human being now in this moment. So who are you being? And you get to
Yeah.
choose.
Mm.
You get to choose. Yeah, that's the answer.
Ah, I love that, Nicole. I just
Yeah.
want to commend you for coming on here today for your very first podcast. I'm honored to have you.
Oh,
Truly honored
you've
that
made
you are
breaking
a
the
natural.
virginity very easy. Thank you.
I'm honored.
Oh, I've
But
loved
you
it.
did so well because you're natural. You
Oh, bless you.
you've really helped the audience today, helped me today. Beautiful, beautiful insights. And
Thank
I'll definitely have you on
you.
again for sure.
Yeah, I'd
But
love to. I'd love
yes,
to. Actually,
yes.
you just reminded me. I'm going to create a meditation as a gift for
Oh, that's right. Yes.
your community. So I will
Love that.
give you the details of that, and yeah,
Ah, thank you,
let's
Nicole.
help people tune in and consciously create.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. So yeah, I'll let everyone know where they can download that. I'll put it down below on Spotify and yeah, and on
Fantastic.
YouTube. That'll be wonderful. So check Nicole out on on Instagram. You've got Facebook as well, but mainly Instagram, and then YouTube. She's going to be starting her unfiltered, which I can't wait. And thank you so much, Nicole, for being on today. So goodbye, everyone, for another episode, episode 12. Haven't named it yet, but I feel like it's going to be Perfect Circle.
Yeah,
Something
I
like
love
that.
that.
Yeah, because you've got the circle window and everything we're talking about is like that beautiful, yeah, beautiful circle. So thank you, Nicole. Make love, not war
Amazing.
with yourself. Thank you for being here today. Thanks, viewers. Bye for another day.
Thank you so much.